This is SCP Pandemic, an extremely hardcore tactical FPS that can be played both in co-op and single player. Thanks to developers for sending me an email, I was able to discover this upcoming game that, by the way, would need your help right now on Kickstarter if you're down to support it. Link in the description for that. This also might be the very first time that I see an SCP game which is looking so ambitious and varied like this one. We've seen mods, we've seen small little games, but in Pandemic, this game wants to bring the SCP stories to life to a lot more people, like myself for example. Of course I've heard of FCP and its little stories, but I've never seriously got into it. With this project, it might change though. I love how realistic and hard it all feels. I got into a session with the developers and we actually struggled at times to pass the level. It's a really hard game that is extremely tough to play alone. It's possible, but it's hard. SCP Pandemic is a hardcore cooperative first-person tactical shooter with a high focus on immersive combat and semi-linear storytelling. The level design efforts are a combination of large open spaces for PvE combat, in addition to focus points for linear objectives and horror sequences. SCP Pandemic is based on the SCP-5000 canon by Tan Oni. Now here's the story of the game. The SCP Foundation is a non-governmental organization with a high reign of the prosperity of humanity while remaining in total secrecy. They were once dedicated to containing and researching anomalous entities of our world, protecting humanity under a shade of moral grey. The directive of the SCP Foundation made a complete shift upon the discovery of a foreign entity that has infected every human's mind. The O5 Council, the leaders of the SCP Foundation, initiated a directive to exterminate the human race in an attempt to stop the nefarious entity from reaching its true potential, undertaking the belief that doing so would be a mercy. Several members of the SCP Foundation defect and retaliate against the omnicidal efforts, whistleblowing information to other large organizations such as the United Nations Global Occult Coalition. Defectors of the SCP Foundation, along with assistance from the GOC, form a fire team to infiltrate Area 12 in an attempt to prevent Psi-Z from reaching Frisian. They will also collect sensitive data and exfiltrate Erwin for interrogation. The fire team's efforts are to impede the SCP Foundation's present and future plans for global omnicide and to find more vital information on the entity behind the Mind Pandemic. During the GOC's raid on the facility, it experienced a massive site-wide containment breach of Psi-Z and other contained entities. In addition to the existing mission, you must also fight through and survive against the horrors that broke loose. Throughout the game, you will be positioned against a plethora of different enemies, including but not limited to horde enemies, large monsters, and completely unkillable threats. The developers want to emphasize heavily that this is not a game just about horde enemies and zombies. There will be incredibly diverse threats that you will encounter over time. As development continues, different level segments will be dedicated to specific enemies and/or combinations of different enemies. You will have to adapt between different parts of the environment to ultimately survive and progress through the stories. The environment design is said to be far from over. Over time, it will become more alive and lived in. In addition, they hope to bring more and more interactivity into play. So far, you can shoot out most lights, destroy some items by firing your gun at them, and so on. This will also soon be integrated into the enemy AI perception systems. An example of this, a majority of enemies will be affected by light, how much they can see, and sounds based on loudness. You'll be able to use these plant components for stealth and other strategies, such as outright distractions. You will also run into semi-frequent environmental puzzles and challenges to proceed deeper into the story. Now for the weapons, you'll be armed with modern weaponry as they want to stay true to the modern era, dedicating their design to maximum immersive potential. Even as the world itself is filled to the brim of abnormalities, they still want you to feel like this is as real as it can be. They want to use their Kickstarter campaign to hire dedicated animators, VFX designers, and so on to take weapons to their next level. Many weapons are also planned in addition to weapon bashing. These features will be introduced as time goes on. They will also feature shotguns, long-range weapons, and potentially mounted guns throughout the game levels for focused moments. Alright guys, make sure you all let me know what you think of the game, and please support the game's Kickstarter if you like what you see and want to support. They really need it right now, and to see a game like this come to life would be awesome. Make sure you guys subscribe to stay tuned for more videos on upcoming games just like these.
Is this you?
Maybe.
Oops. No!
He died holding onto the stairs. See, that's what happens when you get old. You get to, you know, if you get too old, you can't. You have to hold on to the guardrail, and zombies get you.
I'm not sure. Someone ran, so I wasn't sure if it was bad or not.
Get up there.
Yeah, this is like a choke point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, someone get him.
Hey! Why were you running at us?
Okay, we're
back here.
yeah, we need to funnel him.
I need you to move out of the doorway so I can get past.
Yeah.
You almost took my head off.
Oh wow, we're all really low in health, aren't we?
Oh wow, we really. Oh,
Ah! What killed me?
Zombie.
No!
Go back to basic button, right?
oh, there's a lot of zombies coming in. Let's go take care of that. Already opening. Let's go. And back up.
Running.
Get behind the gun. Not in front of the gun, behind the gun.
I am lagging.
Just walk back.
Reloading.
Forward.
Thanks to Richard Westfall, Bruce Wayne 236, Thunderbeard, Kian Zofagari, Rickno23, Diamond Hunter 45, Themistocles, Space Beer Gaming, and Rash Singbati for being a master member on the channel. You can become a survivor member for as low as 99 cents only by clicking the join button below. This will support me and the channel as a whole to continue making videos on the games that truly deserve it.